The Green Party, one of the founders of it in 1999. As David McCorkadale stated earlier, we're the largest party in the world. We have 10 key values, and they all apply to all of us. I, as your representative, Delaware, is only one vote. But as you can see, the one vote has really had a detrimental circumstances on the population of Delaware. Because no matter who you caucus with. So there's a lot of issues in Washington because of the two-party duopoly corruption. I'm a civil rights activist, I'm a peace activist, and an environmental activist for 45 years. I'm the person that had the law written about renewable energy portfolio standards in the state. That's why you had a solar industry. Because the language put into that utility law, and I was the only lone ratepayer, had a little help of course, but I was the only lone ratepayer in the whole state that stood up to try to stop the demonopolization of the monopoly, which is stupid. So right now we're suffering from like a really bad financial crisis, as you heard, gentlemen, from the Independent Party. It's going to be a really terrible depression coming because of the fiat currency problem. But on top of that, we got to stop the wars, and some of the basic things I believe in is this. Obamacare has completely failed. 27 states were allowed not to extend it to their citizens, and now the price of even the so-called factors of conditions that you might have is going away now too because of overburdened insurance. I believe investment in that. We don't have to put any more than to get, which then is percentage called Medicare E, Medicare for everybody. It would save 27% of your cost overall, your administrative cost, and you wouldn't really have to invest any more than that. You got to get it in hand, but you got to get rid of the Delaware delegation because they are beholden to the big insurance companies and to the big pharmaceutical industries. They were just in here 3 weeks ago. Senator Landrieu and other big pharma senators and lobbyists were having a conclave of state with Vice President Biden talking about just, keeping things the way they are, and they can't be. So if you want to really, really make a change, you need opposition in Washington. I suggest you take a look at the Green Party. Go to our website and learn about the issues. Thank you very much for this time. I didn't expect it.
Thank you, Rob, for U.S. Senate on the Green Party. Did I get that right?
Yes,
sure I get
you
it right.
did.
All right.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak tonight. There's a lot of very interesting things. You may be startled by some of the things that Douglas said. He's actually got it right, and he's obviously very passionate about it. And I think that's great. People are starting to wake up to what's really going on in this country. I'd like to take a different tack for you on jobs, because we have a problem with jobs, we have a problem with employment. We have a lot of different influences in our culture right now that are causing problems, particularly for our students coming out of colleges, finding jobs, paying off their student loans, and things like that. So what Douglas was saying about the banking system certainly does apply to those students who may spend the next 30, 40 years paying for their student loans. That's a big problem. They can't start their families and get nice houses and all the things that I was able to grow up with, and many of you as well. So we need to consider those economic issues. But I'd like to tell you how to get out of this, because you haven't heard a lot of people solving problems here lately. Every recession, I'm an economist by training, an economist by education, and a corporate analyst. I worked for Fortune 500 companies for 25 years. I know how to get out of this stuff, and that is to embrace the technologies that are coming up. You may not be able to remember back to '93 and that election year in '92 with Clinton and Bush won, but we were in a recession then. And it took quite a few years in the Clinton administration to get out of it. And he, of course, gets credit for that, as any president would. But we need to look at why that happened. We had a major change in technology. Computerization finally enabled the internet to create another form of commerce. It employed scads of people. We had the lowest unemployment in this country in decades. It was down below 3%. Now we have new technology we have to embrace, and we're not in Delaware right now. We're building or reopening petroleum refinery plants, chicken processing plants, coal-fired power plants. This is what we're trying to do to get jobs in this state. And it's a mistake. Those are highly automated businesses. There's a lot of robotics and automation through engineering. They don't create jobs. We had a power plant to go into Newark that was disguised as a data center. Data centers maybe produce about 50 jobs, long-term jobs. Sure, there's construction jobs up front, but they go away. So we need to embrace the technologies that bring us into the future. If we were Danish citizens or Norwegian citizens, we'd be paying half for our electricity of what the United States people pay on the average for electricity. Why? Because those countries 10, 15 years ago decided to embrace the new technologies for generating electricity, whether it's wind power, solar power, and other kind of renewables. They now have a competitive advantage over the United States when it comes to energy acquisition. That's happening right now. Let's not even talk about Germany, which they are above Maine in terms of latitude, and they generate more solar electricity than the whole United States combined. Okay? So we're missing out on the technology change that's going to get our young people jobs, pay off these debts, and move us into the future. And I haven't heard boo from any of our candidates, whether they be Republican or Democrat, that knows this secret. They just want you to be happy the way things are. The banking system, well, we could have a long time to talk about that, which I don't have. So thank you so much for listening to me. I wasn't prepared to talk tonight. Obviously, people are proud.